Oh,
Oh,
dog.
shit. What's up, big dog?
All right, dude. So hopefully this works out here. Who knew you were the mastermind behind all this?
What's that?
I said, who knew you were the mastermind behind all this? I'm supposed to be sorting this, homie.
Dude, well, hey, that's two brains are better than one sometimes, man.
Or just one Jonah brain, right?
Yeah, dude, all you need is one brain sometimes.
All right, bro. Hey, don't be laughing. This ain't no professional. This is we're slinging. We're slinging right now. All right. Yeah, girls be girls.
I know, my girl's looking at me all funny and stuff. This isn't funny.
Yeah, dude. Drew, babe, this is serious, dude.
I'm working right now, okay? I'm 55
Yeah.
seconds.
Hey,
right now.
hey, we're working right now. Can you make sure to give us some space here, some peace and quiet?
I didn't know you were getting started.
I didn't know we were starting either, but we're starting now, okay?
Hey. Hey, if you don't do it, nothing's gonna happen, right? So
that's right. And now we're starting.
All right. So, let's go through our topics here.
Can I close this while? Yeah. Yep, I can still close my phone while using this. Nice.
Nice. Hey, dude, not our first time, right?
Yeah. This is my second rodeo. Okay.
All right. So I guess the first topic we'll talk about is just like, I don't know how BMW is going more all-wheel drive with all their like M cars, or I guess they're starting with their 3 Series or their M3, I should say, and then previous to that with like the 335i and then the 340i, the M line. That's kind of the first one they went with. And like the reason I'm bringing it up is just like we kind of talked about this back and forth, is like, is that a threat from Audi that they're worried about, or like more what we were talking about, like moving away from that dual clutch, going to a ZF? Like, are they looking more for like a smoother commuter car that's capable, a more, less intense approach to appeal to a more broad market? I don't know. And like, obviously you work day in and day out with BMW. So maybe you have like some input, or, seen some things that kind of show the direction they're going. Obviously there's the electric stuff we can get into too, but like just with their performance stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're directly doing it to compete with Audi more so, but I just feel like you said, I think that they're more trying to focus on having like a car that will like appeal to more people, because like the F80, or all the N54 and the S55s, their last 3 Series motor was just kind of aggressive, like hard acceleration, and I think now on the newer cars you're seeing that everything's all more smooth. They have a more linear power band, and they're offering that 4-wheel drive option for people. And yeah, it's kind of, I mean, they're not all for. I think like only the competitions are all-wheel drive only.
Yeah, I should.
It's kind of cool how they do offer that for anyone. You can get the 4-wheel drive, or you can get the rear-wheel drive. But it is kind of strange how only the competitions are all-wheel drive only. So.
Yeah, and that's like another thing we can get into. I forgot to mention that is like the more of the enthusiast line is going to be rear wheel drive and probably going to be a manual option. You can go to comp, but then you're ZF only for right now at least.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I mean, if you're an enthusiast trying to buy a G80, I feel like, I mean, you even are a little bit interested in that 340i, because the B58. I mean, we get into that a little bit. That's becoming the kind of, the sleeper. And when they first dropped that into the Supra, the numbers they were giving out, the fact that, it wasn't the 2J, like it had a lot of shoes to fill and that were impossible. But now, kind of looking back at it and seeing kind of how the field is right now, it's like, man, the B58 is over delivering, definitely on numbers.
Yeah.
They had that head redesign and changed the compression ratio on that Supra that kind of brought it more in line with people what they expected. But I feel like the best of that motor we're years away from that. But
yeah, I think so too.
Because I mean, we're seeing it in a lot of M line vehicles. I mean, I don't know hands on.
They're putting it in everything, dude. It's in the. I mean, you got it in the M235i or two. I think it's M240i. It's
Correct.
in the M340i. They got it in the M440i. They got it in the 540s. They got it in the X3 M40i, the X5. They got it in the X7s, the 7 series. I mean, they got it in everything. So it's a fucking badass motor. I mean, it's capable to be in any of those chassis, and it still feels like a quick car, you know. So it's definitely an impressive motor.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about doubling of weight, and you know, obviously things change from torquing and how they do their gear set, but like these are all matched up with kind of the same platform. It's the ZF gearbox matched up with that B58, and it's, you know, it's not proven yet, but I'm sure we'll look back on it fondly like we do with the N54, you know. So
yeah,
and probably even more so. I mean, the N54, I mean, you probably know more about that, but that wasn't that tapped into because they went into that twin scroll design from the, I think it was twin turbo at the first of that. And then they went to that twin scroll, which was a smaller snail and didn't have as much capability, but obviously a lot less leg.
Yeah.
But then the N55 came out and didn't have the water jackets, right? That was, or no, sorry, went to water jackets, right? Because the N54 was a solid, wasn't it? Or am I thinking of that wrong?
I think it was solid, but I really don't. I don't know, man. There's so many different things.
Yeah.
I forget which one's the fucking water jackets and which one's not.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it's weird how, yeah, the twin turbo, you would think that the newer cars being only the single twin scroll turbo, they wouldn't have as much capabilities, but they're still plenty fast, you know. So
absolutely,
it's a pretty impressive turbo, just being that small, and they are small. I don't know if they are, even in school they were telling us like it's small, but, and they're making all these jokes, you know, it's not about the size of the motor, or it's not about the size of the boat, it's about the motion of the ocean, you know. But
yeah,
it fucking works. It does its job, and but yeah, it's a different car, you know, than the N54. It's just so much smoother. The N54 is just, you're breaking tires every time you step it on the gas, almost.
And the crazy thing is, like, variable geometry's been out for a while, but just like how it carries over, like we're looking at, you know, lower commuter cars that use it for emissions and kind of maybe move more away from the variable valve technology, like the VTEX, things like that, and moving more to variable geometry on these turbos. But they scale all the way up to, you know, 911s and Koenigsegg's, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know if that's going to be something they keep doing, because emissions are really cracking down on that type of stuff, and that's why we're seeing, from my understanding, higher displacement motors.
Yeah.
In the interim, like why Porsche went to the 4-liter and was able to do that on their you know, GTS models and obviously like their GT line. It just I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, because it just seems so temporary. It seems like everyone's like, you know, putting their hands up, making everything work with what they have while dodging the silicon shortage. And then, you know, in the background, I'm sure that they're, you know, deleting everything. Everything's new R&D, everything's electric. It just, like, GM's supposed to be full electric by 25, dude. Like, before we blink our eyes, it'll be September of 24 and they'll be producing those things. So it's just,
that's gonna be weird.
Super weird, dude. And I just feel bad because I think a lot of people are looking at this as like a really bad market. And it's another talking point I want to get into. Like, we still have cars on the horizon that are, you know, maybe some people have them. I haven't seen it personally, but like, I think that new Nissan Z is a hell of a car, and we barely talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of recycled parts, but like, dude, it's a lot of proven good recycled parts too.
Yeah.
You know? And they always make that Nismo model, which, you know, people are rumoring about being all-wheel drive. It's like the baby Godzilla. People are saying internally, and like, if that's the case,
I haven't even looked into that. And you know, I saw it come out, and I just haven't even bothered looking into it. So it's kind of a weird time where people probably just don't give a crap about new cars, because it's almost hard to get anything that's brand new that's cool like that. It's almost like, yeah, good luck getting it, you know. Like,
yeah,
it's freaking strange.
Yeah, and I hope I can, you know, through doing this, we can link with more people about the dealer side on the sales side. But like, everyone's got to fend for themselves. I get that part, but too, like, they're ruining a lot of stuff. Like, you can't get a Bronco, you can't get a C8, you can't even get a BRZ, dude.
No, me and my girl, we were looking at the Tesla truck and we didn't even know, but we were like, oh, it's $100 down. Like, screw it, I'm down for that. We put $100 down, and then my brother was like, oh, dude, make sure you figure out which place you are in line. And we're number like 2.1 million, and they can only produce 500,000 of those per year.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if we're gonna have to wait 4 or 5 years before we see this Tesla truck. So I mean, still, it could be. I mean, bulletproof fucking car. It's worth the wait for me. But it's kind of. I don't know if I've had 11 cars in the last 4 years, so it's kind of hard to see where I'm going to be at in that time frame.
Absolutely, dude. We have no idea. We have no idea where anything's going.
It's kind of
but
weird. I was talking to my brother too. Sorry to interrupt you. I was talking to my
no
brother
worries,
too
man.
about how like Tesla, in my opinion, is killing the car game. Their cars are legit, dude, and it's almost like we're like, or I don't know if it's all the other car companies are in cahoots trying to silence them or whatever, and just kind of shit on them. But literally, like, no one said. There was all the Super Bowl commercials, it's all GM car or whatever, Ford and GM, saying that all their electric cars and stuff. But
I have a theory on that. I mean, we were talking about this previously.
I think we were talking about it, yeah, weren't we?
Yeah, like I have a theory to this. I think this Green New Deal is probably on the horizon, dude. And Electrify America, which is the government body or that's going to organize these grids, to make this a reality, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who one of their clients isn't? Tesla.
Yeah.
They make their own grid, dude. They make those superchargers, right? And the reason they released their blueprint on this stuff for free for anybody to use is because they want them to be on their grid. I've never owned an electric car. I think there are adapters and things like that, but you're not getting the full capability out of those charging stations, right? But I think the middle finger is just, government bodies and connections being like, hey, put those guys, F you to those guys. Put those, don't put those guys on these huge broadcasts with millions and millions and millions of fans. Push the new Kia, push the Porsches, push people that are already signed with Electrify America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of crazy. And then, I mean, you just see, even just looking at the numbers, you can clearly see, if you look at the numbers of the Tesla, it's a much better vehicle just on paper. And if that's not even driving the car, they can get 600-mile range of this stuff. You can charge up to 80% in whatever, 30 minutes. And they have routes. They're pretty smart about their routes. If you want to go on a road trip, they have kind of strategically planted their charging stations out. But some of these other cars, like, they don't go very far at all. I remember the first i3 they were telling me at work, it had like 50-mile range, dude. I thought that was unbelievable for a $60,000 car.
Yeah,
50-mile range. You got like a golf cart range on your $50,000 car. It's insane. And I get the whole battery thing. It's like, but it's just kind of weird how they kind of don't get. I mean, they don't really need the publicity, I guess. They kind of speak for themselves. Once anyone gets in one, they kind of fall in love with the car.
Absolutely. And I mean, a lot of that's modeling, marketing, who you're approaching to. Because I mean, I would never buy a Mach-E, but I saw a Mach-E GT, dude, and I took about 3 takes. So I think Tesla's got a look. It's very I don't know the word for it, but it's very sleek.
They're sleek, they're freaking nice, they're luxurious, like they're just stylish. They're very stylish cars, and they're more than a car too. They have all these extra functions to where it's like you're never bored with the thing, it seems like.
Absolutely, dude. And like even the new models, I mean, they have like their own GPUs in the back seat where you can play games with your kids and stuff. It's just nuts with the way they're going. They have ANC. They have all kinds of stuff that, have been in the tech world for a while, but they're incorporating it, kind of the iOS of cars right now. You know what I mean? I get how there's Apple CarPlay, but you know what I mean? Just like from the ANC and the App Store and the touchscreen, obviously, like they're very much trying to appeal to a lot of people here.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, dude, like, until they figure out that grid, I just feel like I don't really see the point of anyone going outside of Tesla because they're very aggressively priced, dude. It's like you can get a Model Y for the same as a Mach-E, and like I get the Mach-E is cool, dude, but day to day you're not going to want to be looking for stations. And like I've heard stories about the Taycan where people are driving cross country and they show a station on their, find a station, right, app on the actual infotainment, and they show up and it's not even up and running, dude.
Oh my gosh.
And what are you going to do at that point?
Dude, that's a nightmare of mine, and that's why it's so sketchy to me still. I mean, I guess some of these people like the i3, for example, with a 50-mile range, some people literally don't go farther than 50 miles per day. They just need something for around town.
Yeah.
In which case, like a Mach-E or any of these other electric cars would be fine.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to go across country, it's sketchy. That's why I really think the Prius is a badass car as well. Even though everyone talks crap on it, the Prius is nuts. You get 50, sometimes even more miles per gallon, and you fill it up in 2 minutes and you're ready to go again. That's an impressive car in my opinion. I just remember learning about it at UTI and was just like, wow, this is a ridiculous car.
Yeah, the Atkins cycle and all that stuff. It's like what we're talking about. Like, we never see the full potential of any of this stuff because they get cut at the legs. Like, you can talk about synthetic fuels. You can talk about how the Volt used to do it. I don't know if you remember the original Volt and the ELR. They used to put gas in it, and that gas would generate the electricity. You would get like 75 miles per gallon. And I'm guaranteeing that was way more reliable.
Yeah.
So because I don't even think it had a cell. It might have had a cell for starting, putting in reverse, things like that. I don't know per se, but it's not what we see today where you got a motor on each wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of that stuff is nuts. And so the price too, like for Tesla, you're getting a Model Y for same price as the Mach-E, but you're faster than pretty much everything on the road. Like, it's a ridiculous speed driving those cars. It feels like you're driving a UFO or something. It's a freaking weird car to drive.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we got Plaids, not even Plaid. Like they were gonna have that Plaid Plus, I think it was called, that trim model. They canceled out, so this was not even the full capability of that new Model S platform, and we're still burning SF90s on the highway. You know what I mean? Like the best Ferrari can put out there. So it's just crazy. And I know it's not all about straight line speed all the time, but like we got this Roadster hopefully in the next couple of years that will be that capable vehicle,
Yeah, 100%.
And I was going to talk to you about it's kind of off the cuff because I don't know the specifics exactly what it was called, but if I recall correctly, the Taycan is that 800 volt system, I think is what it's called, that new platform that everyone's moving to. And the spot on the benefit of that one is it's got water cooling and vapor chambers and stuff for cooling, but just the sheer size of that cell, the way it has it lined up in series, because of it's a bigger network, the dissipation of heat and stuff, that it can launch time after time after time after time, right? And if you've noticed, the Plaid still has that issue. And the article came out today, I believe, where it was talking about I know they've been rumoring about it, but there's these different connectors for the new battery cells. So instead of a tab, it's a connector. Way over my head, dude. This is some engineering stuff, you know what I mean? So like, apparently, you get a way higher amount of efficiency. So they're talking about 750 mile range on a charge on pre-existing architecture, just with these new cells. And the problem of constantly launching and having different, like crazy differing times, from 0 to 60 with 2 seconds without rollout, probably all the way up to 3 or 4 seconds depending on your charge and all that stuff, and heat. I think it's supposed to resolve all those things. So people can't even get the 200, 250 consistently, and now you got Tesla, around the corner hypothetically doing 750 with not even new architecture. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy. I haven't looked into this 800 volt system or anything. I got to start.
And I could be wrong. I don't know if that's 100% what it's called, but I want to say it's 800 something, but the whole idea behind that is just more consistent, right? Because even at that time, which is like 19, I think, is when they were really premiering that, a Tesla never even got around the Nürburgring at that time. I mean, I think the Plaid is set a lap record time now. I think it had more sticky tires, and it had aero or something. Yeah, I don't know how. Point being, I don't know how representative it was of the car you get on the lot. You know what I mean? But like, at the end of the day, it did set a lap record, or not a lap. It might have set a lap record. It might have been the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quattrofolio for the fastest 4-door. But point being, even previous to that, I'm pretty sure they've never been able to complete a lap, let alone set a record, you know? So things are improving crazy. I mean, they've only been around since 08, dude. And Lotus used to build all their cars. They still only built cells at that point. So if you really look at it, it's been less than 10 years they've been making all their stuff in-house.
Dude, yeah, and it's already grown so much in 10 years. Imagine what all this stuff can be in 10 more years. Like, it's going to be ridiculous, man.
And I don't want...
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you before we go on. My girlfriend has this client, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I'm going to say it anyways. She has this client that says she works for a company that is trying to produce a flying car, like a flying taxi fucking company, where literally it's flying cars. And I'm like, I didn't believe her at all. But this is what she's like, yeah, look at my company. I keep forgetting to ask what the company name is. We'll have to bring that up next time. I'll figure it out and look into it, because I think this is definitely something we can talk about too. But dude, if they're literally making flying cars, what the hell are we going to have in 10 years? You know, we're going to have some rocket ships attached to the back of our cars. I don't know.
Absolutely. And we can get into that too, right? Like, I'm not an engineer. I don't know anything about that stuff, right? We could probably get lapped around circles by people that understand physics way more than we both do combined. But what I've heard countless times from, you know, other people that are actually testing these cars hands-on, that limiting factor is the tire. You know what I mean? So it would resolve a lot of the issues. I know Tesla's brought that up with the SpaceX package. Who knows how much weight that actually carries? You know what I mean? Like how true any of this stuff is. But I think that is a problem that they're trying to solve. They can't just keep making more refined compounds out of walnuts and rubber and whatever else they put in there, right? At some point, they're going to have to solve the actual wheel. You know what I mean?
That's true. It's hard to think about that. I mean, it's hard to think about all this stuff, how everything is like, I mean, all the parts, most of the parts in these cars are like limited, you know, everything we're putting in it, oil, fucking gas, you know, like it's all has a time limit on it, you know. It's just the hourglass is just ticking away, you know, and we're just like, all right, let's just pump out as many tires as we can and as many quarts of oil as we can. And it's kind of it's a weird thing. It's hard to imagine us seeing the full transition into electric cars in our lifetime, but I think it looks like they're really pushing for it. And I mean, we might very well see it. If not, our kids definitely might, you know?
Absolutely. I think that's the only, just because how much government's behind this now. Like, I know hydrogen was teased about, and we can talk about that. I saw this very interesting video on cold fusion about hydrogen and stuff. But that was something I want to say Toyota was even doing for a little bit. I think one of their Lexus models, they actually had a hydrogen vehicle that you could drive in the U.S. legally. But I think these are all only California cars. I don't even think there's hydrogen stations anywhere else. Sorry.
I saw a car on the road, hydrogen. Have you ever seen a hydrogen station?
No, never.
I've never seen one, ever.
Yeah, and it's the weirdest, I don't know the word for it. It's like ironic, I guess, where it's like the most abundant gas, I'm pretty sure, but it's one of the hardest things to produce. Like, it's just and transport.
Of course it is. Dude.
It makes no sense, bro. It makes no sense. But it probably does make sense. That's just over my head. You know what I mean?
It probably does. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
crazy. That would make sense, that it's the most abundant gas we got, but of course it's the hardest one to. We're just like, nah, we're not gonna try to figure that one out. Like,
oh, absolutely, dude. And I want to talk to you about this new company called Nikola. I don't know if you ever heard of this company.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that makes me very fearful for the future. Maybe maybe it is the right call, just going electric and getting subsidized that way, and making this all work and everyone works together, hopefully. But I think there's just too many scams everywhere else. I know Porsche and a couple other people, I want to say Volkswagen, have been putting in a lot of money and resources and towards synthetic fuels. I know.
Wow.
The Koenigsegg, that 4-door. I can't.
The Gemera.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Gemera.
With the 3-cylinder. Is that the one?
Yeah.
That could run off like synthetic fuels from volcanoes and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. So like that's super sick. But like that volcano gas is, we think inflation's bad right now. That'd be like some $100 per gallon gas, dude. So
Hey, I guess if you're driving a $3 million car, you don't give
it
a
doesn't
shit.
matter. Yeah.
But still, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a light flex. Like, who knows who's even checking this stuff or where you'd source that? But it's like it's super interesting. I just think a lot of people forget, like, ethanol is a synthetic fuel from corn, bro. It's like we kind of missed that chance. I think if I've thought about this a lot. I think if we had that option now, like E85 something new, E30 something new that just came on the market, I think we'd be a lot more open to it because we know what our options are at this point,
That's true, dude. And yeah, I feel like that's something. I mean, I feel like I've heard. I don't know what I'm talking about in this subject, but I've heard like we kind of fucked up with our livestock area, like because we haven't like taken care of our soil, and so we're just like replanting on all this fucked up soil over and over, But I'm sure we could have done something, to dedicate a huge plot of land to just keep doing corn and having a fucking some sort of E85 fucking surplus over here, But
yeah, I mean, I think it's just if we had more funds, I think we could have figured that out because it was carbon neutral back, probably 10 years ago, dude. That was one of the selling points. And from what I understand, like you said, I'm not a farmer either, but corn is like one of the most subsidized crops out there that people that don't even farm essentially just plant corn because of the government subsidization of that. You know what I mean? So it's like one of the most I shouldn't use the word abundant, but one of the most affordable and logical crops that we produce. I mean, I don't know how that's not a winning formula. From the limiting factor I understand is obviously the people trying to convert from gasoline at that time. It's not like we had Teslas rolling around, a couple roadsters here and there, maybe, and back in 2010.
We should look it up. We should look into it, and then
Yeah.
maybe next time we could talk about it and see why we were so dumb to assume that we could fucking use E85 all the time. I'm sure there's got to be a reason that.
Yeah, I know the electric burden on making the fuel out of corn is like just crazy. Like just the energy that it consumes is just, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is like, dude, like nothing a decade can't solve, you know what I mean? Like in this day and age, dude. So
that's true. I mean, dude, we're figuring all this crazy stuff out, I heard we have some places, I don't know which part. I gotta look into this too, but I heard that there's I think it's, I don't want to say a country and have it get it wrong, but I know there's some countries that are like going back to nuclear power, and it's like really successful, now we're using like new technology, and they're like, oh, I was listening to it on fucking JRE, of course, but talking about how, we used to have all these old reactors, but they were built in the fucking 70s. So now we got 2022, like we can figure this out, why wouldn't we be able to figure this out now? We just put our new technology into it, and make sure we check all the boxes, cross our T's and dot our I's, so something like that, something like a nuclear reactor exploding can't happen again or whatever.
Yeah.
And figure some shit out, give me a nuclear gas station, just give me 1 second fill up and back in my rocket ship,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest hurdle that Tesla's solving. I think if this 750-mile range thing is true from what we understand, dude, I don't think there's gonna be too many people complaining unless you got a 4-tank truck that goes 1,000 miles on the fill. But I think the limiting factor is still charging. I know superchargers can get to like that 80% or whatever in 30 minutes, but I think that just that full top up. But that might be relieved just by the total mileage. Like if it's 750, but on an 80 charge, you're getting 500, 450 miles. I think a lot of people would be okay with that.
For sure, that's pretty legit, especially in 30 minutes. Like you could chill out, have a tea, whatever you want to do. Have a hot pocket at the gas station. Like especially if you're mobbing, and then you got autopilot in your Tesla. Like, dude, that car is impressive, man. I mean, I that's why I really want the truck. I didn't know I was gonna have to wait that long, but I'm like, you know what, whatever. We'll see if it ever happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in the 3, I've been in the Y, and I've been in the X. Oh, and the S. They're all very impressive cars. I mean, I love they're simplistic. They got the big iPad screen. It's kind of obnoxious sometimes, but at the same time, it's nice to see that. and the freaking car drives itself. What more could you ask for?
Absolutely. And like one of the things that people complained about on those early models on the what would they be at the time, like P85Ds or P7, what were they called?
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly.
P85, P90D, P100D, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, and they had like the 70, which I think was the lowest capacity. But those early models before they even called it dual motor and performance, like those were the two lines I think they had. And now it's just when they got plaid and whatever else now. But my point is those early models, the fit and finish was just terrible on those things. And from what I understand, at least on the plaid models, these new ones, I mean, a lot of that has been solved. I have not been in one of those yet. I'm hoping I can at some point, but like, I just see a lot of companies, I've been in a lot of Porsches, working over there that, I just see, God, you know how it is. Like, someone trades something in, some grandpa who has like 10,000 miles on their 2000 A8L or something, I mean, like some luxury boat.
Yeah.
And you go in those things, I'm like, man, I can't see an ounce of plastic, foam, anything, right?
Yeah.
And then you jump in a brand new Taycan, there's plastic everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if that's the way they're going, the way they're, shaping their, starting with that $40,000 base and optioning up to 100,000 on, these Range Rovers. My grandma's got a Velar. That's a good example of that, where it's like they're kind of shoving themselves into a corner that if Tesla just makes up a little bit of that difference, it's not going to be an eyesore. It's like, it's just, it's not, the early 2000s, but it's pretty on par with everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I haven't been in any of the new Mercedes, but I heard Mercedes is really really pulling back, dude. Like their center consoles, from what I understand, is a couple clips and one screw. Like you can literally jam that thing around and like almost break it off from the floor. Yeah. So it's like a lot of companies are cheaping out in a lot of places, dude.
Yeah.
And you probably see that because you're on the service side still,
Yeah. I mean, and it seems like they try to step it up on their interior game. A lot of their seats are cool. Their headliners are a little like they just kind of like are like a foam, like squishy material. I think the Audis are better at that. But I mean, above all, like the interiors, they stepped it up a lot. Opposed to the F chassis, like the F30s compared to the G20s, it's kind of night and day difference. They really made a big difference to try. As far as like the dash and the center console, nothing's really too creaky or like cheap feeling in my opinion. The headliner is on some cars on the better models like the X5 or the X7s or 7 series, and I'm sure some of the 5 series you can get the suede or Alcantara headliner, which is actually really nice. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I'm used to driving what we refer to as shit boxes, 80-year-old or 30-year-old cars with no interior. So they're amazing to me, like when I get in it, I'm like very impressed. And they have different, like the comfort seats, I think are my favorite, I think, opposed to the sports, just because I'm getting older and I'm getting wider.
Yeah.
And like, it's nice having that nice big seat opposed to some of those ones with the high, aggressive bolsters, but I mean,
and a lot of those are carbon back seats too, I'm assuming, right?
I'm not on some of the like M models for sure they are carbon.
And
yeah,
I mean,
I'm not for sure. But
and those, I mean, that's like sitting on, what I mean? That's like sitting on a rock somewhere, dude. It's like, I can see what you mean on that, but like, I think because you've been in a fair amount of seats, dude. I know you're gonna get your seats reupholstered. I don't know if that happened. I don't remember. I don't recall now. But those old seats, dude. My grandpa had a fair share of 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, obviously you're not gonna get held very well, but dude, it's like night and day. Some of those seats, they're so nice back in the day.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, I actually on my E30, I did get those seats reupholstered. I got them just in the black vinyl. Just because it was a lot cheaper than the leather. But yeah, I mean, and they're still like they're such a classic seat, like they're so cool to sit in, and they hold you in just a little bit, not too much, but it's definitely more than a lot. Like I have the sports seats compared to the comfort seats. Like the comfort seats, there's no bolster on the bottom, no lumbar support or whatever it's called. So it's a big difference. But yeah, some of those old seats, those Recaro seats, are so cool, man. And some, that's like, I think a lot of companies are starting to realize it, and a lot of the BMWs, they offer a leather option too, which is it's a pretty big step up from the vinyl. You can when you have the leather seats, it's a fucking noticeable difference. And I think the companies that are starting to realize that people just like a nice interior, I mean, they're starting to thrive. Like I saw my buddy, I don't know if it was he had a Kia. It wasn't the Telluride. It was something similar to the Telluride. It was like a Kia SUV, and it was so nice on the inside. I mean, it had the big iPad style radio. It had like diamond stitch vinyl seats. It was black with a white exterior, and all black trim. And it's like, wow, this is a Kia. But it was like something. It looked like a freaking X5 in there. It was nice. So I think people, they're starting to figure it out, and they're like, all right, let's just make a nicer car. For the most part, some people are cheaping out. They're trying to let's make a nice looking car for as cheap as we can get it.
Absolutely, dude.
And some people are skimping, some people are doing a better job than others. But yeah, you are seeing some of these car companies step up, and like Kia, in my opinion, they have stepped it up. They have some good cars right now. I think they just had to compete with these Camry, the Toyotas, and the Lexuses, for that price market. And I think they're doing a damn decent job, man.
Absolutely. And like, I feel bad for BMW because they used to be like the Spartan interiors of that segment, dude. Like I remember, or I can recall, like, like the E90, E92 type of vehicles, like just gorgeously built, but just plain Jane as can get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they went all in on that G80. I mean, you're saying the fit and finish is still nice in those. I haven't been in those, but man, just like some of the press cars I've seen, like lime green, the paddles with the grip.
They are insane. Yeah, I've seen a few of them. A guy at my work, a salesman, he has the Isle of Man green. I mean, it is the photo shoot car, whatever. The Isle of Man green with the orange leather interior, and it is ridiculous sitting in that car, man. Like, especially I've done like the pre-delivery inspections on it and have to go fill it up with gas.
Yeah,
and it's the perfect car. I mean, they always say the M3 is like the best car, but man, you fall in love with it. Just there's so much tunability. You can have you have your M1 setting, your M2 setting. You have all these different. You can adjust the shifting. What is it? I forget. I'm not finding the word right now, but like the veracity of the shifting, you can make it more comfortable or more aggressive. And the dampening of the suspension, the steering stiffness. It's a great car, dude. And the interior is just phenomenal. Like when you get in it, and it feels brand new, and it's like you got that leather smell. And it is just a ridiculous feeling when you hop in a car like that. You just want to sell your kidney to get into it,
Yeah, exactly, dude. Being a dad's got multiple problems, right? Huh?
Yeah,
Figure that one out quick.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, bro. I think that's good for our first one.
For sure.
We went way off topic, and we're gonna get better at this probably. But I think that's a good first show, dude.
I think so too. I'll look over and reread it. We can find some topics that we went off on, and maybe just follow up on in the next episode too, and just keep going, bro. This was fun.
Yeah, dude, we powered through that. That's 4A. Don't laugh. We just did 40 minutes. We powered through that, dude.
Yeah,
I thought it was productive, so I appreciate it, dude.
For sure. Yeah, there's some stuff that you were talking about that I definitely didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah, dude.
So we'll have to do a little more. I'll have to study a little more before the next one, but it was fun, bro. We'll keep it going.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
All right, you too, bro. I'll try to send this to you right now.
What's the podcast called? The Carpod, dude.
It's the Carpod, dude.
The Carpod.
Welcome to the first episode of Carpod, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, host Jonah and Cole, right? That's good.
That's right.
What's your opening?
Well, dude, we haven't got that far. We just conquered 40 minutes. It's little successes.
What's the theme song?
Well, dude, you're going way too far here. We would never start if that was the case. Beggars can't be choosers. That's like our favorite thing to say, dude. All right. All right. Take care, bro.
You too, bro.
Peace.
Peace.